Good morning.
Let's say Tal.
Tal. On page Peches. Ve-ha-inyan hu. The inyan in this is, at this point, we should be able to relate to this expression of the inyan is. Inyan is means the significance behind all of this. What's the inyan? What's the point? The inyan to explain. The inyan of Chochmah, that although Chochmah is within the realm of sechel. Sechel means that there is an element of knowledge, in contrast to ratzon, which is not knowledge dependent. As a matter of fact, there is nothing to know in ratzon. It's part and parcel of the nefesh itself. It's the leaning within the nefesh itself. Chochmah is part of sechel. Within sechel itself there are two distinct levels. Chochmah and binah. And there is a very significant difference between them. Although they are both within the realm of sechel. Which means it's a functioning quality, it is not just an essential quality. Like in ratzon and emunah. Still, there is a fundamental difference between Chochmah and binah. As we said so far, that Chochmah is in essence above hasog. That which one comprehends in Chochmah cannot be grasped. It cannot be internalized. It is there only while you are connecting to it. It's not like something you can take along with yourself. It becomes yours. Like in binah, it becomes my knowledge. Chochmah does not have that level of quality at all. Yet it is within the realm of sechel. It's not like ratzon. So the inyan in this is what in fact is the significance of this difference. Okay, this is how they function. How does that make a difference in terms of what they bring, what they connect to, what they connect the person to? What the inyan is? The inyan, behold. Again, at the risk of losing track, I have to alert us to the expressions used by the Rebbe to bring us into this. These are very calculated expressions. Mm-hmm. It says the hine, he could have gone straight. He can have finished my Chochmah. The hine is to denote, is to alert us to the principle that what I'm going to say to you is something that you should be able to recognize directly. if you think your own experience, you immediately see this in. Meaning is behold. Behold means just open your eyes and see, like we spent 3 days arguing about. The principal difference between Chochmah and binah is the Chochmah toife is be'etzem adov. That Chochmah grasps in the essence of the thing. Again, the word toifes, even though we said Chochmah does not have hasoga, how is it toifes? It means over here in a different sense of toifes. Chochmah is grasped. Chochmah is interested in Etzem Ador. You cannot grasp anything at that level. But that is what you relate to, that is what you identify with. What entices you to go into it is the Etzem of the thing, the Etzem of it. He said yesterday, when Teifus means it relates to. You see things. What do you see? Chochmah sees the fact that there is an essential truth in this. And this is why Chochmah becomes enticed to go for it, to become interested in it. Binah, on the other hand, binah, Teifes rag b'mtzias adov. Teifes is grasped or relates to, identifies with the mitzias adov, or with the presence of the thing. Not how the thing is unto itself. The etzem,
with the presence
of the thing, or whatever it understands. The etzem. Adava means the thing. And as we pointed out the other day, the way the Rebbe expresses it, Rab in Mitzias Adover, only in the Mitzias Adover, it is to imply that the thing to which binah relates to is not devoid of real truth, of etzem. Except binah takes from the etzem the mitzias. But were it not for the fact that there is an etzem within it, then the binah would not be enticed. Like we gave an example, a very clear example, that you have a home that is fully furnished and fully appointed for a living home. If there is no etzem, there is no reality, if no one ever lived in here, you lose interest. Why not? Why? Because there has to be the essence, the thing that mitzias. This is why we say always Chochmah and binah go together. How do they go together? They're so different. The answer is that binah takes the oil and the truth of the Chochmah, brings it down to the binah. It doesn't avoid it, it doesn't neglect it. It also needs to relate to the etzem, but it does not teivos, it does not recognize, it does not directly relate to it, but within its parameters, within its world, it knows that there's a truth. The binah, the Rebbe explains further, the thing that we said, that binah is teifes rag b'mtzias ador. To elaborate on this statement, why do we say that binah only has the mitzias ador and relates only to mitzias ador? The binah hi bechinas hasod. Because binah is the principle of hasag. Hasag means comprehension. Comprehension means that this is something that you can actually translate within your own mind.
So somebody doesn't have their phone on with you. Mute your phone.
He said if someone didn't mute your phone, please mute your phone, he said.
Okay. Comprehension means that you take it in and it becomes part of your knowledge, part of your treasure, so to speak. It is not present while you are connected to it. It's present. You take it inside, the hasag. You grasp it. You took it in. That's binah. So how can you take an etzem? Etzem stays where it is. Explanation to this is the whole hasaga he betzir hadavar. Any hasaga, any grasp is betzir hadavar, is in the formulation, the form of the thing. Loi ve-ha-etzem, not in the essence. If someone wants to ask you, what's a table? Nobody going to answer. How the table is perceived in the nefesh adam, or how the table is formed. Clearly, you'll tell them what it looks like. The mitzvah is the form. And hope that he has also sechel, and he also has chochmah, and then when he brings that form back to his sechel, you understand what it's about. ve-ha-inyan, which means to say rak b'mitzias hadover levad, only in the mitzias of the thing. Levad means by itself, how it functions, how it presents itself. Eichu mahu, how is it and what is it? How is it and what is it means how does it look, how do you represent, and how do you use it? What's its function? V'zehu. And this is what is meant to say when we say she'hasaga teifeses behavov k'tzovei shel hadover hamusar. Hasaga grasps and it takes in the vav ketzovis, the 6 dimensions of the davar hamusag, of the comprehended thing. Vav ketzovis, as we already discussed in our modern and sophisticated mode of expression, we say three dimensions, 2 dimensions, 3 dimensions. But the Rebbe clearly says the 6 dimensions, because 3 dimensions is only an elusive. If you have 2 dimensions, you can be able to finish off what the other 3 dimensions are. Because of their form, eventually they'll meet each other, and there will be the end of the dimensions. But nothing stands on 3 dimensions. 3 dimensions is a half a thing. 6 dimensions. The whole thing is described only by 6 dimensions. This is what takes up space. I don't have to elaborate. I'm saying I think it's quite clear.
Yeah.
which means that binah, in order for hasaga to apply itself, it has to identify 6 dimensions, edges, ends, a complete description of not what it is internal to itself. The whole davar shehu pashut, because anything that is pashut, that is dimensionless, plain, she'ein beiketzovis, which does not possess ketzovis, edges or dimensions, ends, hainu, which means shehu bibchinas heder hamitzius. If it is poshut, ein ketzovis, that means shehu bibchinas heder hamitzius. It is, there's a truth there, but this truth is an internal truth. It does not present itself in Metzius. The B'chinas Hadran Metzius means it defies Metzius. The B'chinas Hadran Metzius, it does not want, is not interested to relate to Metzius. Metzius is not, does not excuse me, capture its truth. Pashut. So that which is heder, b'chinas heder amitzius, einoi nitfas ve-ha-soga. That cannot be grasped in hasoga. It is not a mitzius, there is nothing to be masik. Okay, we read the next lines, and Rebbe is, so to speak, putting an effort to make certain points. To what it would mean, it would seem that we are going back and forth, but each time it should alert us to the essence, to the point that is being made. Ki hasoga teifeses rag b'haktzova shel ha-inyan hamusar. Because hasoga grasps only b'haktzova, in the edges, in the dimensions, in the borders. The borders is the correct way of the inyan hamusar, of the inyan that is being completed. Shezehu inyan tzir hadover. These dimensions, these edges, these borders, this is inyan of the tzir hadover. This is the tzir, the design of the thing. Shehu rak mitzius hadover, which is only the mitzius, lo yatzeh mehusar. This is only the tzir of the thing, not etzem mahusar, not the essence of its presence. In other words, he built a table not so that it would have something of this form. He built a table to represent something of a human truth, etzem mahusar, so that the borders and the design is only the mitzius, not etzem mahusar. Typically, if one conceptualizes the principle of a table, after he has that concept, he will first have to go and design, okay, how do you represent that concept in the Metzius, in the world? You have to first formulate the tziyur. The tziyur is based on the essence, on what you're trying to represent. But in the essence, you don't have the tziyur. The tziyur is only when you want to bring essence in the Metzius. Chochmah, in contrast to all that, ha-chochmah toifes be'etzem amhuz hador. Again, I think that here the word should be tefeses. The Chochmah is toifes, tefeses be'etzem amhuz hador. What does Chochmah relate to? What entices Chochmah? What triggers its interest? And we have this very vivid illustration of this. No matter how well appointed the house is, if there were nobody ever lived in there, it does not entice a Chochmah. I'm not interested. Binah, on the other hand,
does not entice the binah either. If no one lives there, it's not enticing the binah also.
No, I cannot hear.
Again?
If no one lives there, it doesn't entice the binah either.
Can you pick up the...
He said, if no one lives there, it doesn't entice the binah either, he said.
No, binah, yes.
No one lives there.
No, binah does. How do they live over here?
But if someone doesn't live there, it doesn't entice the binah.
No, it's not true. We may be interested to see how people lived 100 years ago. How do they design? How does an engineer go to design a home? He goes and visits 100 different homes, and he looks at other people's schematics and plans. No, he doesn't. It's not true. Binah is interested in the form of how do you present Chochmah in the Metzias. That's not to do with whether people live there or not. Chochmah addresses only the etzem. And if there's no etzem, he's completely turned off.
I think Shlomo may be talking about worldly binah. I mean, the binah here is saying, when we say rak b'metzias hadavar, we explained it to mean how it's coming from Chochmah. So he's saying this binah that's teifes rak b'metzias hadavar doesn't relate to the house, but worldly binah maybe does, maybe.
The binah, when he sees a form, it is interested in the form. Then he will try to say, okay, how do you use it? What's the significance of it? How can I utilize it in practice? That's another step, perhaps. So, but you said that if nobody lived in the house, he would not be interested to study the house. It's not true. From the binah perspective, he would be interested. There are multiple ways of designing a table. No matter how practical, how theoretical that design is, somebody who is an engineer is in that field, he would be interested to see it.
Even though we said binah always looks to Chochmah for where to go.
That's right. So binah says like this: okay, this is how this represents, how this can be, but what does it ultimately accomplish? It accomplishes to accommodate the Chochmah. But it understands it on the binah level.
But if binah finds out that this is not real, it's still, then it has nothing to connect to, no chochmah to connect to.
If he finds out that this design of a table was never used, does he then turned off from studying it?
No, you're saying that.
Interesting. All he has to see is that this design will also accommodate Chochmah. And as long as that is true, he's interested in the design.
Interesting.
All right. Should we proceed? How do we stand here?
Just saying this.
Semi-innocent? Ready? Yep. Okay, now we're going back to the world. Chochmah. ve-ha-inyan. Thus, this represents and brings out, points to the principle. Ma shemoichin abo hey lemayla mihishtalshus. That moichin abo. Moichin means Chabad. Chochmah means das. Moichin means the intellect rather than the emotion. Emotion is a personal experience. Intellect is interested to see what the higher level is showing it, what the truth, the Mahus is showing it. That's how that intellect relates. And in that itself, there is Moichin the Abba, Moichin the Eim. Moichin the Abba means Chochmah. Moichin the Eima is binah. Moichin the Abba is supported and identifies with ratzon. Moichin the Eima is supported and identified by Moichin the Abba, by the Chochmah. That which is represented at the Chochmah level. Let me elaborate on this last statement for a moment. Moichin the Abba, it relates to the ratzon, even though it's moichin. He has an intellectual way of identifying it and so forth. But what it is it that entices it is the ratzon that's inside. What does that mean? Let's see if we can go this way. Going back to our worthwhile table. A table can be viewed from multiple angles, multiple sense of value. A table enables a person, like me sitting here, you put the book down on the table and sitting in front of it. It is very convenient. It's a practical tool. There's another element in the table, beyond the practical tool. We're sitting at the same table and learning the same thing together. That can only be accomplished by a table. That's a different aspect of the table completely. Binah would normally relate to the first principle. How is it used? Chochmah relates to the second point. Where is the essence represented in this? What's so significant about this? Convenience and practical thing. This is way beyond the nefesh, the chochmah. This is when you want to practice it, you go down to that. This is not how it is conceptualized in the nefesh. Chochmah looks to how it's conceptualized. This is Moichin the Abba. Moichin the Abba al Malam Hishtalshus. Are above Hishtalshus. Hishtalshus means, as he's going to discuss.
Rabbi PALTIEL? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yep. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yep,
Can
very
you
well.
hear me?
Now, yes. Not before.
Okay, so just to go back a moment, the engineer or architect who comes and is interested in a model home because of, interest in how these things are built. This is a binah level of hasaga. Doesn't there always have to be some sort of fatwa? Binah can't really be there, can it? Can it without some hasaga, some fatwa that starts it? Maybe he has a chochmah in the general concept of designing homes or something. Can anybody start just from binah?
No. We went through this. Baruch, what's the point? What's the inyan?
I'm sorry, I missed this. What's the inyan?
What's the point you're trying to make? We said multiple times that binah is not totally dissociated from chochmah. But binah grasps hasaga is not shaykh in the chochmah element. Chochmah is shaykh only in the boktzovus, in the design, in the borders.
Okay, so the example of the architect is meant as an example of something like that.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to clarify, to understand.
What is not clear?
Okay, let's drop it. I don't want to waste time. I'll meditate on it.
Okay. Wow. That'll serve you well. Moichin di Abba Hilemalam Hishtalshus. This is the principle behind the statement that Moichin di Abba is Hilemalam Hishtalshus. What's the difference between Abba and Ema? Just as in our world, conceptualization occurs as a result of Abba. Ema develops it. Once the concept is there, then he develops it. She develops it, over a long period of time, and then feeds it, and it comes through many other aspects that enables the fetus to grow. It's already a living fetus. Now it'll grow if you maintain it properly. The concept is l'mayla mishtalshus, which is going to be discussed now. Just we're not going to get into it. So just hishtalshus means a chaining down, a process of correlating one level to another. The concept does not have correlationship. The concept is is the essential point.
Isn't that what we already said about Chochmah?
With me?
Is that not what we already said regarding Chochmah?
Yes.
So what's different? Menachem Av, same as Chochmah? Different?
No, Menachem Av is Chochmah.
Got it.
But now he's going back to talk about the way it is L'mayla, the terms that are being used. L'mayla me'hishtalsус. Hishtalsус means something that can develop over a period of time. Menachem Av does not develop. But we call them L'mayla me'hishtalsus. It's true. It's all repetitive. They speak on different levels. In concept, it's the same thing. And now we are going to interrupt. Have a great day.
I was holding him up.